الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. Carrying on with Kitaab At-Tawheed, second chapter, Bab, it says, Bab man haqqaqa at-tawheed dakhala al-jannah bighayri hisab. Chapter, the one who fulfills Tawheed enters paradise without any account. So after he mentioned the hadith that the one who comes to Allah with the whole earth full of sins, that was the last hadith we had, but he meets Allah not having committed any shirk with Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah will forgive him all of his sins. So connecting to that, he comes to this chapter, which is whoever fulfills Tawheed will enter paradise without having to give any account. And we mentioned what that actually means. Yes? That he must come with total Tawheed. He must know what this Tawheed is, what it means to be upon Tawheed. He must know the conditions of La ilaha illallah, and not to break those conditions. So he must know it, he must not break it. He must act upon the knowledge of it, not just knowing it. He must act upon that knowledge that he has of it. Because knowledge without actions is not real knowledge, it's just information. Many of us have much information, but it only becomes knowledge when we act upon it. Then it becomes knowledge. Until then it's just information. Knowledge calls to action, and without actions knowledge will disappear. And then that information or that knowledge without action will be a proof against the person on the Day of Judgment. Also, the person needs to stay away from all types of shirk. Must reject all that which is worshipped besides Allah Azza wa Jal, and must stay away from all types of shirk, the major of it and the minor of it, the apparent of them and the hidden of them. He must stay away from all types of bid'ah, all types of innovations, new things in the religion, whether the innovations that are from the tongues or from the actions. And must stay away from the sins. That doesn't mean that for us to fulfill Tawheed is that we never sin. That's not what is meant. But when a slave sins, he remembers Allah because of his Tawheed and returns back to Allah. As Allah says, وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا فَعَلُوا فَاحِشَةً أَوْ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ ذَكَرُوا اللَّهَ فَاسْتَغْفَرُوا لِذُنُوبِهِمْ وَلَمْ يُصِرُّوا عَلَى مَا فَعَلُوا وَهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ. As for those who fall into fahisha, we know what fahisha is, or they wrong themselves. So Allah gives one of the major sins, fahisha. Or they wrong themselves, or anything other than this. They remember Allah and they make tawbah, and they don't persist in their sin. This is what is meant by staying away from sins, not falling into sins. Is that when you do sin, the tawheed that you have, the love of Allah, the fear of Allah, the hope in Allah, the iman in Allah, the staying away from all shirk, leads you straight away to remember the badness of what you've done, and causes that pain in you and that sorrow in you that leads you to tawbah straight away and repentance to Allah for what you have done. And so you don't persist in the sin. So staying away from shirk, the major of it, the minor of it. Staying away from bid'ah, innovations, all types of them, whether it's innovations of the tongue or innovations of actions. And staying away from persisting upon sins. And always when one sins, to repent to Allah. Being sincere to Allah Azza wa Jal. All of this is fulfilling Tawheed. being sincere to Allah in your heart, in your words, in your actions, in your intentions, in everything you do, you are sincere for Allah. And another one of them, to make this Tawheed pure, is to fill your heart with Iman in Allah and in the last day and all that Allah has revealed. Which, when your heart becomes full of this, what happens is that this becomes manifest in your worship of Allah from your actions. It leads you to the obedience of Allah. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, ألا إن في الجسد مضغة إذا صلحت صلح الجسد كله وإذا فسدت فسد الجسد كله ألا هي القلب. That in the body there is a morsel of flesh that if it is upright, the whole of the body is upright, and if it is wrong, then the whole body is wrong. Verily, it is the heart. So if the heart is full of Iman, and full of Tawheed, and full of love of Allah, and full of awe of Allah, and knows the greatness of Allah, and has full of reliance in Allah, then that has to manifest in your actions. If it doesn't manifest in your actions, meaning you don't obey Allah, then know that the deficiency is in your heart. That you are claiming something that is not real. It's easy for any of us to claim the love of Allah and then not follow the way of the Prophet ﷺ, not follow what Allah has revealed. Claims are very easy. We can claim the fear of Allah, then we're involved in all types of sins. Where is that fear of Allah then? Whatever is in the heart must manifest in the actions. Otherwise, it's just false claims that we are making. So the one who fulfills all of this, all of these things that I've just mentioned, he is the one who has fulfilled Tawheed. And what is his reward? دخل الجنة بغير حساب. He enters paradise without having to give account. Allah will enter people into paradise without asking them a question, without asking them for any account. بغير حساب ولا عذاب. Without any account and without any punishment. They will just straight away enter paradise. These are those who fulfill Tawheed. من حقق التوحيد دخل الجنة بغير حساب ولا عقاب. Okay, but we ask Allah to make us of those who fulfill this Tawheed. Then he, after mentioning the chapter heading, he says, وقول الله تعالى إن إبراهيم كان أمة قانتا لله حنيفا ولم يكن من المشركين. He starts with the Imam of the Hunafa, the one who fulfilled the Tawheed of Allah. And he mentions Ibrahim, because the only prophet that Allah ordered our prophet to follow was Ibrahim. If you go through the whole Quran, Allah gives stories of the different prophets. Yes. But He doesn't tell the Prophet ﷺ to follow anyone but Ibrahim. أوحينا إليك أن اتبع ملة إبراهيم. Only Ibrahim. To the extent that Ibn Hazm says that we are ordered not to follow any of the prophets but Ibrahim. The Prophet ﷺ and Ibrahim. And that's it. And that's true from a Quranic point of view. Allah mentions the stories of all the prophets for us to take benefit from their stories and what happened and what they did. But when it comes to Ibrahim, because he was the pinnacle of fulfilling Tawheed of Allah Azza wa Jal, then Allah said to the Prophet ﷺ, وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ أَنِ اتَّبِعْ مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيم. And we revealed to you to follow the way of Ibrahim, to fulfill that Tawheed that Ibrahim a.s. fulfilled. And that's not the case with any other prophet or messenger. Allah hasn't mentioned that, but anyone else. And the Prophet ﷺ, when he talked, he said he's the most like Ibrahim. Even in the way he looks, he's most like Ibrahim alayhi salam. The Prophet ﷺ, when he met them when he saw all the prophets and the messengers, when he went for Isra wal Mi'raj, and he prayed with them, he said the one who was most similar to him was Ibrahim alayhi salam. Yes.
How about when sometimes the Prophet ﷺ recommends actions of other prophets?
That's fine. We're talking about as a whole, follow Ibrahim alayhi salam. Follow his way. Ibn Hazm even goes, this indicates that even follow the Sharia of Ibrahim. Because that's from his millah. And his Sharia was similar to the Sharia of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This is Ibn Hazm's opinion. I'm not saying this is the correct opinion. But he's saying to the extent where Allah is saying, follow Ibrahim step by step, that even you can consider follow the Sharia of Ibrahim. So that's why the Shaykh mentions Ibrahim, the first ayah of when he's talking about those who fulfill Tawheed of Allah, he talks about Ibrahim. And this verse gives us the 4 characteristics or attributes that one needs to fulfill the Tawheed of Allah in this verse. The first is, Inna Ibrahim kana ummah. Ibrahim was an ummah, was a nation in himself. Why? Because he learned he learned the truth, he acted upon it, and he taught it to the people. And he was followed in it. This made him an ummah, deserving of being followed. That's what Allah calls him in himself. He's an ummah. He learned the truth, he acted upon the truth, he called to the truth, and people could follow him. And they followed him. This is the first characteristic. Learn the truth, teach it to the others. And make yourself an example to others in the truth. The second, qanitan lillah. Always obedient to Allah. Constantly obedient to Allah. Never, this qanitan means obedient, and never asking why. Or challenging, or even not challenging, what's the word? When you don't want to do it, or you want to ask questions, why it's like this, why can't it be slightly, I can't think of the word, tirab. Hesitant, okay, we can use hesitant. Being hesitant with regards what Allah wants. Or having an issue, or wanting it to be slightly easier. All of these are from the meanings. Qanitan, he never asked Allah, look, make it easier. This is too difficult. He did everything Allah asked of him. Look at how he was with the idols, and how he broke the idols. First, look at with his father, and his father telling him, if you don't worship the idols, I'm going to throw you out, I'm going to whip you, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that to you. And still, he remained firm. Then when he went and destroyed the idols, what did they do to him? They threw him in the fire. They built the fire in front of him. And they burnt it, as some of the Mufassirin, for 3 days. To the extent, and it was so big that if a bird was passing by, it would fall in. It would die because of the heat, as it was flying over it. And he saw it, and he knew they were going to throw him in, and he still had sabr. And he didn't leave his tawheed. And he didn't hesitate. And when help was going to come, Jibreel came saying, do you need anything? He said, if it's from you, then no. But if it's from Allah, then yes. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. Sufficient is Allah for us, and He is our protector. This is Tawheed. Jibreel could have helped him, took him. But he says, if it's from you, then no. My reliance is upon Allah, not upon anyone but Allah. حقق التوحيد. He fulfilled Tawheed. The third one, Hanifa. Hanifa means to be, literally means to be not straight. It means to be inclining. Inclining, here it means inclining away from shirk. Inclining away, turning away from shirk. And being firm upon Tawheed. He turned away from every type of shirk, the major of it, the minor of it, the hidden of it, the apparent of it. In actions, in heartly actions, in words, in physical actions. He's turned away from every type of shirk. From when he was a child to the end of his life. That's why Allah says the fourth character, وَلَمْ يَكُمْ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ, and he was never from those who committed shirk with Allah. Not once, not ever, no instance Ibrahim committed shirk with Allah. From his birth to his death, his heart was pure. He fulfilled the Tawheed of Allah. So the one who fulfills these four characteristics that Ibrahim fulfilled, he has fulfilled the Tawheed of Allah. And he will enter paradise without any account and without any punishment. This is man haqqaqa at-tawheed. Yes.
Could you just repeat the four in that sentence?
Being, knowing the truth, calling others to the truth, and teaching the truth to people. To become an ummah, to become one who can be followed. Qanitan lillah, being obedient to Allah and never being hesitant or asking how or why. Hanifan, turning away from every type of shirk. And only being upon Tawheed. And never, وَلَمْ يَكُمْ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ, and never allowing yourself to fall into any type of shirk with Allah. This is not an easy thing to do. Perhaps we don't fall into major shirk. Perhaps. But the minor shirk in our actions, or even in the actions of our heart, the reliance, where is our reliance? Is it upon Allah? Or is it upon other than Allah? Where is our love and our fear and our hope? Where are all these things? Do we give parts of them to other than Allah? So these are the difficult things that we need to work on to fulfill and be amongst those who will be entered into paradise without any punishment, without any having to give any account. Then the Shaykh mentions another ayah, another few ayat. He mentions part of the ayah, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ بِرَبِّهِمْ لَا يُشْرِكُونَ, and those who don't commit any shirk with their Lord, who don't commit any shirk. Allah negates them committing any shirk with Allah. These are the ayat of Surah An-Nahl. Allah says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ هُمْ مِنْ خَشْيَةِ رَبِّهِمْ مُشْفِقُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ يُؤْمِنُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ بِرَبِّهِمْ لَا يُشْرِكُونَ وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْتُونَ مَا آتَوْا وَقُلُوبُهُمْ وَجِلَةٌ أَنَّهُمْ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ رَاجِعُونَ أُولَٰئِكَ يُسَارِعُونَ فِي الْخَيْرَاتِ وَهُمْ لَهَا سَابِقُونَ. Allah mentions certain characteristics of the people who will enter paradise without hisab. He said, they are the ones who are fearful of their Lord. هُمْ مِنْ خَشْيَةِ رَبِّهِمْ مُشْفِقُونَ. They're trembling out of the fear of their Lord. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ يُؤْمِنُونَ. And they are the ones who believe in the signs of their Lord, have complete belief in them. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ بِرَبِّهِمْ لَا يُشْرِكُونَ. And they are the ones who commit no shirk with Allah at all, from any way. وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْتَوْنَ مَا أَتَوْا وَقُلُوبُهُمْ. And they do what they've been ordered to. But at the same time their hearts are trembling. أَنَّهُمْ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ رَاجِعُونَ. Because they know they have to return to Allah. أُولَٰئِكَ يُسَارِعُونَ فِي الْخَيْرَاتِ. They are the ones who run to do the good deeds. وَهُمْ لَهَا سَابِقُونَ. And they are the ones who are at the forefront of the good deeds, doing the good deeds. These are the ones who will enter paradise without any hisab, without any adhab. Firstly, خَشْيَةِ رَبِّهِمْ مُشْفِقُونَ. They have fear of their Lord Jalla wa Ala. a fear that causes them to tremble. They have complete faith in that which Allah has revealed. Unwavering belief in what all of Allah's signs, whether they understand them or they don't understand them. Unwavering belief. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ بِرَبِّهِمْ لَا يُشْرِكُونَ. No one to them is as beloved as Allah. No part of their worship is given to other than Allah. They commit no shirk with Allah. Outwardly or inwardly, they commit no shirk with Allah. They do the actions, but they are trembling, will their actions be accepted? They do their actions and they're trembling that will their actions be accepted by Allah. That's why they are fearful of the day of their return to Allah. Aisha radiallahu anha asked the Prophet ﷺ about this verse. Who are these who do the actions and they're trembling? Are they the ones who commit the major sins? Are they the ones who fall into sariqah and fahisha and all of these things? Prophet ﷺ said, no. O daughter of the Siddiq, no. They are the one, وَلَكِنْ يُصَلُّونَ وَيَصُومُونَ وَيَتَصَدَّقُونَ وَيَخَافُونَ أَنْ لَا يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُمْ. They are the ones who pray, always praying. وَيَصُومُونَ, they're always fasting. وَيَتَصَدَّقُونَ, they're always giving. وَيَخَافُونَ, and they're fearful that none of it will be accepted of them. They're fearful that it won't be accepted of them. And because they're fearful, what does it do? It makes them do more. أُولَٰئِكَ يُسَارِعُونَ فِي الْخَيْرَاتِ. They keep doing more out of the fear that what they've done is not enough. Think of Jannah. Think of everything that Allah has prepared in Jannah and then compare it to your actions. Compare it to the insignificant of what you've done. And on top of that, did you do it correctly? And did you do it solely for Allah? That's why they have fear that they will turn to Allah, they will return to Allah, they will find nothing. They will find nothing of their deeds. Because it wasn't for sincerity for Allah Azza wa Jal. We'll stop there. وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والله أعلم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. The last bit that we were speaking about was these ayat of Surah Al-Nahl, where Allah mentions these people who have fulfilled the Tawheed of Allah Azza wa Jal. And the one who fulfills the Tawheed of Allah Azza wa Jal, then he will enter paradise without having to give any account and without having any punishment from Allah. And Allah mentioned them just to reiterate and mention their characteristics again. They are those who have fear of Allah and they tremble because of that fear of Allah. And they have an unwavering belief in what Allah has revealed. Their belief doesn't waver. They have no hesitation in their belief. They have no wavering in the belief of what Allah has sent to be the truth from Allah. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ يُؤْمِنُونَ. They believe in all that Allah has sent down without any hesitation or without any wavering in it. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ بِرَبِّهِمْ لَا يُشْرِكُونَ. And they commit no shirk with Allah. The major of it, the minor of it, the small of it, the big of it, the hidden of it, the apparent of it. Their hearts are solely for Allah. On their tongues is only the words of Allah, or the remembrance of Allah. And their actions, they give no part of their actions except to Allah Azza wa Jal. And they intend by them only Allah. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ بِرَبِّهِمْ لَا يُشْرِكُونَ وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْتُونَ مَا آتَوْا وَقُلُوبُهُمْ وَالْجِلَةِ. They put forward that which they do of actions, and they are trembling that they will have to meet Allah. And as we mentioned the hadith, Aisha asked the Prophet ﷺ, are these the ones who committed the major sins? That's why they're scared of the meeting of Allah. And the Prophet ﷺ said, no, O daughter of the Siddiq, these are the ones who can ولكن يصلون ويصومون ويتصدقون ويخافون أن لا يقبل منهم. They are those who pray often and they fast often and they give in the way of Allah often, but they fear that nothing of that will be accepted by Allah. They fear that they won't be accepted in the sight of Allah, that their actions are nothing in the sight of Allah. But that doesn't stop them from doing more. أولئك يسارعون في الخيرات. Because of that fear that their actions are so little and their actions may not be accepted, it makes them go further and run to do more good, to make up for the deficiencies that they know they have put forward of their good deeds. How many deeds have we done and we know they're deficient? Have we worshipped Allah the way Allah deserves to be worshipped? When the angels on the Day of Judgment, is reported in some narrations, they will come down and say, مَا عَبَدْنَاكَ حَقَّ عِبَادَتِكَ. They will say, we haven't worshipped you, Allah, the way you deserve to be worshipped. And all they do is worship of Allah. Allah is greater than any worship we can give. Even if our worship was perfect, we still wouldn't have worshipped Allah the way Allah deserves to be worshipped. That's why Allah praises Himself and glorifies Himself. Because no one can know and worship Allah the perfection that Allah deserves. And then on top of that, add to that the deficiency of our own good deeds. How deficient they are in reality. How many mistakes we have in them. Because of that, it should make us run to do more. Make us do even more. So that it covers those deficiencies that we have put forward. And we don't know on which deed will we die. Which deed will we die? So we want to do the best of deeds and run to the most of deeds. Perhaps Allah will take us in that running to do the good deeds. Perhaps Allah will take us like that. As the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-a'malu bil-khawatim. The actions are by the end action. The way you lived is how you will die. And the way Allah takes you, then that gives you indication of what is in store for you. So, أولئك يسارعون في الخيرات هم لها سابقون. And not just that they are running forward, but they are at the front of doing all good deeds. Any good deed you find them at the front. In salah, in siyam, in zakah, in hajj, in umrah, in any good, you find them at the front. Who are these? The ones who are fearing that Allah won't accept their deeds. Of course we have hope. Yes, we have hope that what we put forward, what good we do, Allah will accept it. But at the same time we have fear that Allah won't. And that hope and fear makes us do more and go to the front. Allah says, وَسَارِعُوا إِلَى مَغْفِرَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ. And race each other to the mercy of your Lord and His forgiveness. Race each other. Try and beat each other to be at the front, to fulfill this Tawheed of Allah Azza wa Jal. So that when you go to Allah, Allah says to you, enter Jannah without giving any account. And without having any punishment. How will your state be if Allah says that to you? Enter my Jannah بلا عذاب ولا عقاب. Enter my paradise without any punishment, without even being asked a question. But that is not for everyone. May Allah make us of those. Then he carries on and mentions a hadith. عن حسين ibn Abdul Rahman قال كنت مع سعيد بن جبير أتباع التابعين. Husayn ibn Abdul Rahman, he says, I was with, or maybe he's from the Tabi'een as well, he says, I was with Sa'id ibn Jubayr, who is from the great Tabi'een, a student of Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu. Sa'id ibn Jubayr, he's from the great Mufassirs of the Quran. He learned the tafsir of the Quran from Ibn Abbas. As we know, Ibn Abbas was given the dua of the Prophet ﷺ that he would be able to interpret the Quran. So he says, I was with Sa'id ibn Jubayr. Sa'id ibn Jubayr was one of those who was killed by Hajjaj ibn Yusuf, Hajjaj ibn Yusuf, who was one of the governors. He killed Sa'id ibn Jubayr, and Sa'id ibn Jubayr didn't reach the age of 50. At his death, he still hadn't reached the age of 50. And he was killed by this governor. And this governor died a few days later after killing Sa'id ibn Jubayr. Allah took his soul. And the scholars differ whether this Hajjaj ibn Yusuf was Muslim or non-Muslim. Some of the ulama declared him non-Muslim, and some of the ulama said no, he was Muslim, but he was one of the most evil people in our history. He's from the most evil rulers or governors that lived in our history. He was bloodthirsty, Hajjaj ibn Yusuf. He killed companions. He killed Ibn Umar. He killed others. He killed Tabi'een. He had him killed. He did so many things. So Sa'id ibn Jubayr is one of those who he killed as well. So this is a narration from him. So فقال أيكم رأى الكوكب الذي انقض البارحة. So Sa'id asks, who saw the star that fell last night? You know, shooting star. There was a shooting star last night. So Sa'id ibn Jubayr is asking the people who are around him, and with him is Husayn, who saw the shooting star last night? فَقُلْتُ أَنَا. So Husayn says, I saw it. قُلْتُ أَمَّا إِنِّي لَمْ أَكُنْ فِي صَلَاةٍ وَلَكِنْ لُذِقْتُ. He says, I didn't see it because I was praying at night. I saw it because I was sleeping or I was awake and a scorpion or something bit me, stung me. I didn't see it, I saw it at night. It was late at night when it happened. So he says, I saw it, but not because I was praying, but because I was bitten or I was stung. To show what? To remove anything of riyah. Do you think he wasn't praying at night? But to remove anything and not to show the people his actions, what he was doing. So removing that, be far from showing your actions to the people. So he says, وَلَكِنِّي لُدِقْتُ, I was bitten. So Sa'id ibn Jubayr asked him, فَمَا صَنَعْتَ, what did you do? قُلْتُ ارْتَقَيْتُ. He says, I did ruqya myself. Irtaqayt. I did ruqya. What's ruqya? What's ruqya? Reading some verses of Quran or reading du'as or dhikr to remove these, to remove, it can be physical pain or spiritual pain or metaphorical pain. It's used for both. As the Quran is a source of healing for both, for physical and spiritual pain. So he said, irtaqayt, I made ruqya upon myself. So he asked, فَمَا حَمَلَكَ عَلَى ذَلِكَ. Why did you do that? What's your proof to be able to do that? What's your proof? Where did you get this from? Showing what? You should have a proof for everything you do. This is Sa'id ibn Jubayr giving him a lesson. That why are you doing this? Do you have a proof from the book of Allah, the Sunnah of His Messenger to do this? قلت حديث حدثناه شعبي. He said a hadith which was related to us by Sha'bi. And Sha'bi is another mufassir from the Tabi'een. قال وما حدثكم. Sa'id ibn Jubayr says, and what did he tell you? What did he relate to you? قلت حدثنا عن بريدة. Sha'bi narrated to us from Burayda ibn al-Husayb, who is a companion, this one, Burayda ibn al-Husayb, that he said, the Prophet ﷺ said, قال لا رقية إلا من عين أو حمى. Oh, actually he didn't say the Prophet ﷺ said. He said, this companion said, لا رقية إلا من عين أو حمى. That there is no ruqya, there's no doing this ruqya, except due to the evil eye or being stung by a poisonous animal. There is no ruqya except due to the evil eye or due to being stung by a poisonous animal. Sayyid ibn Jubayr responded, قال قد أحسن من انتهى إلى ما سمع. He said that it is good that you stopped at what you have heard. You stopped at the narration. This is what you heard. And you stopped where you heard it. So he used it for, which illness did he use it for? For the stinging, not for the eye. And he did it because he heard a narration from a companion. So Sa'id ibn Jubayr is saying, well done, you stopped where you heard the narration. Now does this mean that ruqya can only be done for these two cases? Because it's mentioned, and also the companion also in another version mentions the Prophet ﷺ said. So does this mean that ruqya is only done for the evil eye and for being stung by a poisonous animal? No. You are right, because there are other narrations where the Prophet ﷺ did it for other things. So what is meant by this? What is meant by this narration? That ruqya is best and most useful for these two things, and has the most effect on these two things more than others. And we remember there's a narration of when some companions went to a village and they found the chief of the village had been stung, and then they did ruqya for him with Surah Al-Fatiha, and it benefited. So the best of uses, or where it will affect most, is on the evil eye, and we know the evil eye, and being stung by a poisonous animal. Ruqya is the most useful for. But ruqya is used for other than that as well. Okay. What type of ruqya is allowed? What type of ruqya is allowed? The best ruqya is from the book of Allah and the Sunnah of His Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That's the best ruqya. But any ruqya can be done as long as it has no shirk in it, as long as its words are pure, and as long as it's done by, it should really be done in the Arabic, but it can be done in other than Arabic. But the most important thing is that his words are pure and it has no shirk in it. This type of ruqya is allowed, even if somebody makes the words up. The Prophet ﷺ said in other narrations, bring me the words that you use for ruqya and say them to me. Those that have no shirk in them, then they are allowable. So this is just a side point of when ruqya can be done and for what is used. Then Sayyid ibn Jubayr carries on the narration, and he says, وَلَكِنْ حَدَّثَنَا ibn Abbas. He says, Sayyid ibn Jubayr said, Ibn Abbas narrated to us that the Prophet ﷺ said, أردت على الأمم فرأيت النبي ومعه رهط والنبي ومعه رجل ورجلين والنبي وليس معه أحد إذ رفع لي سواد عظيم فظننت أنهم أمتي. Okay. So the Prophet, Ibn Abbas said, the Prophet ﷺ said that I saw all of the people, all of the nations, they were shown to me. That means in a dream. The Prophet ﷺ saw all of the people that would come on the Day of Judgment. So it's as if the Prophet ﷺ was shown the Day of Judgment. And all of the people that would come and all of the nations that would come on the Day of Judgment. فَرَأَيْتُ النَّبِيَّ وَمَعَهُ رَهْطٌ. I saw a prophet and with him were something called raht. It's between 3 and 10 people. Raht. وَالنَّبِيَّ وَمَعَهُ رَجُلٌ أَوْ رَجُلَيْنِ وَرَجُلَيْنِ. And a prophet and with him is a man or 2 men. وَالنَّبِيَّ وَلَيْسَ مَعَهُ أَحَدٌ. And a prophet and no one is with him. A prophet, he comes with 10 people who believed in him from his own ummah. Another prophet who comes with only 1 or 2 people. Out of all of his ummah, they are the only 2 that believed. 1 or 2. And a prophet who comes and no one believed in him or followed him, comes by himself. Then he says, إِذْ رُفِيَ لِي سَوَادٌ عَظِيمٌ. As I was looking, I saw a big, huge amount of people. A group, Sawadun Azim means a huge amount of people. So much so that it would look like a crowd of black. You know, when there's so many people, and all you can see is the tops of their heads. Yes? It's as if it's just a crowd of blackness of people. So I saw this huge crowd. فَظَنَنْتُ أَنَّهُمْ أُمَّتِي. So I thought they were my ummah, because of the hugeness of them. فَقِيلَ لِي. It was said to me, هَذَا مُوسَى وَقَوْمُهُ. This is Musa and his people. Those who believed in Musa. Not those who changed and disbelieved. No, those who believed with Musa and died upon Iman in Musa before the Prophet ﷺ. فَنَظَرْتُ فَإِذَا سَوَادٌ عَظِيمٌ. And then I carried on looking until I saw even huger people. فَقِيلَ لِي. It was said to me, هَذِهِ أُمَّتُكَ. This is your ummah. This is your ummah, greater in size than the ummah of Musa alayhi salam. Greater in size. More massive than the ummah of Musa. And on top of that, وَمَعَهُمْ سَبْعُونَ أَلْفًا يَدْخُلُونَ الْجَنَّةِ بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ وَلَا عَذَابٍ. And with them, or amongst them, are 70,000 who will enter paradise without being asked a question and without being punished any punishment. 70,000 of this huge multitude of people of the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ibn Abbas narrated from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that they will enter Jannah without adhab, and without hisab, and without adhab. 70,000, the ones who fulfilled the Tawheed of Allah Azza wa Jal. Remember what he started the book. من حقق التوحيد دخل الجنة بلا حساب. These are those people. In another version of the same narration, Prophet ﷺ said, and with every one of them, another one. So 70,000 and another 70,000. And that authentic, but there is a non-authentic one which says, and which with every one of them, another 70,000. This one is not authentic. Okay? So we have the 70,000 and we have the double of 70,000, which is how much? 140,000. And we have the square of that, which is not authentic. But there will be a group of people from this ummah who will enter paradise without any hisab, without any adab, without Allah asking them a question. He will just say to them, enter my Jannah. That's it. Yes?
You know, there's something mentioned, those who don't ask.
We're coming to that. Who are these people? Okay. The Prophet ﷺ said this. Okay. ثم نهض فدخل منزل. He said this to his companions. And then, without telling them who these people are, he got up and left. Okay, he got up and went into his house. Just like I get up and leave. What are you going to be thinking of? What should you be thinking of, really? Who are those people? That's exactly what the companions did. They sat and discussed, who could these people be? So it says, فَخَاضَ النَّاسُ فِي أُولَٰئِكَ. So they debated with regard to who these people. فَقَالَ بَعْضُهُمْ. Some of them said, فَلَعَلَّهُمُ الَّذِينَ صَحِبُوا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. Perhaps they are the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. وَقَالَ بَعْضُهُمْ. Others of them said, perhaps they are the فَلَعَلَّهُمُ الَّذِينَ وُلِدُوا فِي الْإِسْلَامِ. They are those who will be born in Islam and never see kufr, never see jahiliyyah. Remember, amongst the companions, until the death of the Prophet ﷺ, there are only few who were born in Islam, having never seen kufr, having never seen jahiliyyah. So they thought perhaps these are the people who will come after, who will only see Islam and won't have to see shirk or kufr. Perhaps they're there, those people. فَلَمْ يُشْرِكُوا بِاللَّهِ شَيْئًا. So, because they're born in Islam, they never commit shirk with Allah in any way. وَذَكَرُوا أَشْيَاء. And others mentioned other things. All of them are talking about what they think based upon the knowledge they have. This shows there's no problem in using the knowledge you have to come to some conclusion on an issue, as long as you do it based upon knowledge. فَخَرَجَ عَلَيْهِمْ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ. As they were still debating, the Prophet ﷺ came back. فَأَخْبَرُوهُ. So they told him that they've been debating, that they want to know. They want to know. Why do they want to know? They want to be them, but also they want to know what they have to do to be them. Because they know you don't get this for nothing. You will have to do something to get this. So they want to know that action they have to do to be able to be under these people or be from these people. So the Prophet ﷺ said to them, هُمُ الَّذِينَ لَا يَسْتَرْقُونَ وَلَا يَكْتَوُونَ وَلَا يَتَطَيَّرُونَ وَعَلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ. He said they are the ones who don't ask for people to do ruqyah on them. They don't ask anybody to do ruqyah upon them. وَلَا يَكْتُوُونَ. And they don't use fire to heal themselves. وَلَا يَتَطَيَّرُونَ. And they don't see any evil omens in things. وَعَلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ. And they have full reliance upon their Lord. These are the ones who will enter paradise without any hisab and without any iqab. These are the 70,000 that the Prophet ﷺ has mentioned. لا يسترقون. They don't ask anybody to do ruqyah upon them. In another version he says لا يرقون. They don't do ruqyah on themselves or on anybody else. These are two authentic narrations. One says لا يسترقون, one says لا يرقون. And just because of that alif seen, the meaning changes. One means to ask someone to do ruqyah on you, to read upon you, but you ask them. The other one means that you do ruqyah yourself, whether on yourself or on other. So the scholars differed. We have these two narrations. We can understand yastarqun, that they, out of complete reliance upon Allah, you don't ask anybody for anything. And from that is asking them to do ruqyah upon you, asking them to make dua for you. You have enough reliance on Allah that you don't need anyone else. This is the meaning of la yastarqun. They don't ask anyone. They do it themselves. They do it upon themselves, the ruqyah. When they need something, they turn to Allah themselves. They don't turn to anyone from the creation. Is it allowed to turn to the other than creation? Yes, it's jais. There's no problem. You can ask. In that which a person can do for you, you can ask them to help you. You can ask somebody to make ruqyah upon you. You can ask a person to make dua for you. However, if you do that, you don't fall in this hadith. Because you haven't put your total reliance in Allah. You've given part of your reliance to that other than Allah. When you ask somebody to make ruqyah for you, yes, make ruqyah on you, you're relying upon him. That because he's going to do it, it will have effect. But you can do it yourself. Who is the one that makes it effect? Allah makes it effect. Not this person that you're asking him to do it. He has no control. It's allowable for you to ask. There's no shirk in it. But it's not from the completeness of tawakkul upon Allah. Ibn Taymiyyah says it's makruh for you to do so. For you to ask anybody for anything. Ibn Taymiyyah, this is an opinion of his, that he's by himself. By himself totally. No one else agrees with him. He says it's makruh. And in some places it actually indicates it's haram. For you to ask anybody for anything. Except to ask Allah. This is his view. Perhaps that's why he got to where he got to. Perhaps that's why he got to where he got to. And he proves it. When he argues, he proves his point. He leaves you without doubt that what he's saying is correct. Until you read somebody else. But no, he proves it from the companions and how they were. And how the Prophet ﷺ taught them, don't ask anyone for anything. Rely upon Allah totally and alone. Okay, I'm going very long, so we need to shorten it a bit. وَلَا يَكْتَوُونَ, and they don't use the okay, what was I saying? I forgot now. The other version, لَا يَرْقُونَ, they say, many of the scholars say that this hadith is in one sitting, therefore only one of these words is correct. Even though they both come from a correct chain. Remember what we were doing with Surah Hadith? Where you have to find which word did the Prophet ﷺ actually say. By looking at the various chains of narrations. And only by doing that, you can come to what the Prophet ﷺ actually said. And so they come to the conclusion that the actual word the Prophet ﷺ said, لَا يَسْتَرْقُونَ, that they don't ask others for ruqyah. And not لَا يَرْقُونَ. And not that they don't do ruqyah. And Allah knows best. وَلَا يَكْتُوُونَ, they don't use the fire. It used to be a type of cure, like especially if there was, if you had a big cut, they would use the fire to seal up the cut. So the Prophet ﷺ was saying, don't do this as well. Don't use this. يَكْتُوُونَ. And وَلَا يَتَطَيَّرُونَ, they don't see omens in things. Like the bird flew this way, or the cat went this way, or this happened, and I walked under the ladder, all of this. Yes, these are the omens. They don't see these omens in things. Everything is from Allah Azza wa Jal. فَقَامَ Ukasha. Ukasha stood up. When he heard it, straight away, he stood up. Ukasha bin Muhsin. فَقَالَ أُدْعُ اللَّهَ أَن يَجْعَلَنِي مِنْهُمْ. He said, O Messenger of Allah, make dua that Allah makes me from them. So the Prophet ﷺ said, فَقَالَ أَنْتَ مِنْهُ, you are from them. In another version he said, I ask Allah to make you from them. Both versions exist. Then somebody else stood up and said to the Prophet ﷺ, O Messenger of Allah, make dua that I am also from them. So the Prophet ﷺ said, سَبَقَكَ Ukasha. Ukasha, beat you to it. Ukasha beat you to it. The Prophet ﷺ could have said to him, you're not from them. Yes? Well, what would happen if the Prophet ﷺ said to you, you're not from them?
That's it. The door is closed.
The door is closed, but it's going to hurt you.
Yes.
Okay? This one is maybe not from them. Or the other companions, no. The Prophet ﷺ didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. So he said something that would not hurt anyone. And everybody would leave there happy. Ukasha beat you to it. No one has any bad feeling. Okay, so this is that hadith. And these are those people who will enter paradise without any adab and without any hisab. They will be those who fulfill the Tawheed of Allah fully. Then he says, and we'll quickly go through Masail and we finish, inshallah. Then he says, the Shaykh now will pull out the points of benefit that he took from these ayat and this narration. As you can see it's one narration. It's got two parts to the narration, but it's one narration. He says, وَفِيهِ مَسَائِلَ. In it are points of benefit. The first, مَعْرِفَةُ مَرَاتِبِ النَّاسِ فِي التَّوْحِيدِ. Knowing that people have differing levels with regards to Tawheed. Not everyone is of the same level with regards to Tawheed of Allah. These ones that I mentioned here are those who fulfill it in totality. And they fulfill it by those things that we mentioned at the beginning. So know that people are in Tawheed are of different levels. Just like people in Kufr are at different levels. Then he says, number 2, مَا مَعْنَى تَحْقِيقُهُ. From this we understand, from these narrations, from the ayat and the narrations, we understand what it means to fulfill Tawheed. From these ayat and from these narrations, everything that's been mentioned, we understand how to fulfill Tawheed. Doesn't mean we're going to fulfill it. It means we have an understanding how to do it. You have to go about doing it then. Then he said, ثلاثة ثناؤه سبحانه على إبراهيم بكونه لم يكن من المشركين. How Allah praises Ibrahim alayhi salam because of him never committing shirk with him. Never in any situation from his entire life did he commit any shirk with Allah. And because of that Allah praises him. And because of that we are told to follow his millah. Millata Ibrahim. How many prophets and messengers were there? Even in the Quran, how many are mentioned? Which one is called the Imam? Ibrahim. Which one is called the Ummah? Which one are we told to follow? Ibrahim. Because of this fulfillment of Tawheed of Allah Azza wa Jal to the level that no one else did. Number 4, ثناؤه على سادات الأولياء بسلامتهم من الشرك. How Allah has praised those who have gone before, of those who are Allah's chosen people, because of how they were free from doing shirk with Allah. Talking about the ayat of Surah An-Nahl. Those people who did all of those characteristics and stayed away from shirk, Allah praises them. أولئك في الخيرات وأولئك وهم سابقون. And they are at the forefront. So Allah praises them by this. 5, كون ترك الرقية والكي من تحقيق التوحيد. Leaving asking for ruqyah and leaving kay, using the fire, and leaving omens is from the fulfillment of Tawheed. So being far away from these things is from the fulfillment of Tawheed. By doing this, staying away from all these things, you are making your reliance, he says, number 6, all of these things come together by you leaving ruqyah, asking people for ruqyah, leaving, using the fire, you leave, what was the other one? Omens. All of this is because tawakkal ala Allah, putting your total trust in Allah. That's what it's all about. All of these things, not looking at the reasons, but looking at the one who is in charge of the reasons. Not looking at the causes. Something causes, you do something and it causes something else, yes? But the one who actually is in charge of those causes for them to bring about what you want is Allah. So always looking at Allah Azza wa Jal, even if you use the cause. But your heart is not connected to the cause. Your heart is connected to the one who created the cause. The one whose hand is everything. That's what is tawakkul ala Allah. Number 7, عمق علم الصحابة بمعرفتهم أنهم لم ينالوا ذلك إلا بعمل. The deepness of the knowledge of the Sahaba. How they knew there must be an action or actions by which they could the only way you can achieve this is by an action, and not just by sitting back and having theoretical belief or theoretically knowing something. Theoretically we know we're supposed to have reliance upon Allah, yes? We theoretically know that. You ask anyone, they know that. But do we actually do it practically? It can only be a reality when you do it. So they knew to get to this stage of fulfilling Tawheed can only be done by actions. It can't be done just by knowing something. And that's why, unfortunately, much of our learning is theoretical learning. We know Tawheed is of this many types, and Tawheed al-Rububiyyah is like this, and Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah is like this, and this one is like this, and this. And it never has an effect on our heart or in our actions. Like I remember in Saudi so many times, they know the Tawheed inside out. Okay, they taught it from reception. They taught Tawheed and the different parts of Tawheed from reception until even in their degrees, when they do degrees, they have to learn, they have the subject of Islam. They have to learn this again, over and over and over. But their actions are from illa man rahim Allah, the worst of the actions. Because that Tawheed is just a theoretical knowledge of things that you know, or you know about Allah. But it hasn't had any effect. Not like the companions, they knew it, but they knew that they couldn't achieve this fulfillment of it except by doing actions, running to actions, doing everything that they possibly could. Number 8, hirsuhum ala al-khayr. How much how much they loved to do good, wanted good. 9, فضيلة هذه الأمة بالكمية والكيفية. The excellence of this ummah in its huge amountness and in how it is. Only this ummah will be that huge. It will outnumber, that's it. Outnumber every other ummah. Promise from Allah. It will outnumber every ummah. And it will have these special people in it that no other ummah has, who will enter Jannah without being asked a question and without being punished any punishment. Only for this ummah, no other ummah before it. And we are the last of the ummah. There will be no other ummah after us. فضيلة أصحاب موسى. Also in the narration we get a sign of the excellence of the people of Musa, those who are with Musa. That they will come in these huge numbers as well, because they believed in Musa and followed Musa alayhi salam. The Prophet ﷺ saw all of the ummahs, all of the nations, in a dream before he sees them on the Day of Judgment. He's seen it all. In a narration, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned on one day everything that will happen. From the creation of Adam until the people of Jannah enter Jannah and the people of the fire enter the fire. He stood from Fajr. They prayed Fajr, and then he started to tell them what would happen. He stopped for Dhuhr, prayed Dhuhr, then he stood and spoke again. Then he stopped from Asr, and then after Asr again he stood and spoke. Then he stopped from Maghrib and he carried all the way to Isha. He told them everything that will happen. But many of them were caused to forget it. They only remembered parts of it. Just like now, how much of what I'm saying you have remembered. Just imagine spending from Fajr until Isha listening to someone talk to you. And not moving from your places except to stand up and pray. How much are you going to keep? Well, the Prophet ﷺ told them everything. From the creation of Adam until the people, he said the last person enters paradise and the last person enters the hellfire. He told them everything. What point we on? 12. أن كل أمة تحشر وحدها مع نبيها. That every ummah will be brought back and will be resurrected standing with his prophet or messenger. There will be prophets and messengers who come with no one, but they still are victorious. Yes, they still are the victorious one, even if he came by himself. You have two things. Somebody can be victorious, and somebody can be established. Yes, and not always do they go hand to hand, hand in hand. Victorious is the one who dies upon Tawheed, dies upon that which he was sent here for, dies upon calling to that, living upon that, dying upon that. If you look at Surah Yasin, Allah sent 2 prophets, then He sent a 3rd prophet. What happened to all of them? They were denied and they were killed, all of them. No one believed except one person and he was killed as well. Allah didn't establish them in the land, but they were victorious. They died upon Tawheed and they went into paradise. That's victory. Some get victory and get established in the land as well. Like the Prophet ﷺ, he died upon Tawheed, but also his ummah was established and Sharia was established, and that's why this ummah still remains. But it doesn't have to come together. Somebody can get victory but not get establishment in the land. But when you get to victory, you can also get establishment as well. But they don't have to come together. Okay, 12, 13. قِلَّةِ مَنِ اسْتَجَابَ لِلْأَنْبِيَاءِ The small amount of people who actually what's the word I'm looking for? Istajab. Those who responded. I'm looking for that word, I can't find it. Responded to the Prophet to the prophets, especially those who come by 1 or 2 people, or they come with 10 people. Nuh alayhi salam, how long did he live? 950. How many people believed? There's a difference of opinion. Some say 12, and some people say 80. Okay, it's between 12 and 80 people. 950 years of da'wah, of calling night and day. He wasn't established in the land. He was actually, that's true, that's not right. He was established in the land because Allah destroyed everyone. Then Allah established him. Yes. But how many people were saved? Allah destroyed most of the people. Okay. 14. أَنَّ مَنْ لَمْ يُجِبْهُ أَحَدٌ يَأْتِيهِ وَحْدًا. Any prophet who is not answered, the people don't respond to him, he will come by himself, like in the narration. ثمرة هذا العلم وهو عدم الاغترار بالكثرة وعدم الزهد في القلة. The benefit of knowing this is you never become arrogant when you have lots of people with you, and you never become disheartened when you have few people with you, because in the end victory is dying upon the truth. That's victory, whether you are hundreds and thousands are with you or whether no one is with you. 16. الرخصة في الرقية من العين والحمى. That is allowable for you to do ruqya with regards to evil eye and being stung. 17. عمق علم السلف لقوله قد أحسن من انتهى إلى ما سمع ولكن كذا وكذا. The depth of the knowledge of the Salaf, where they stopped at what they had heard and didn't add or delete from what they had heard. They stopped at the narrations, and they didn't go past the narrations, and they didn't make up their own. They stopped where the narrations stopped. 18. بعض السلف من مدح الإنسان بما ليس فيه. After the Salaf, people used to praise people about that which they don't have. This was something known, and this is something known. You praise people, sometimes you praise them just to make them happy. This wasn't the way of the Salaf. They only praised people on that which they had in them, and not that which they could get from them. You want something from someone, so you praise them to come around to get what you want from them. Yes? We even do it with children. You're such a good child. And he's the worst child. Just to get him to listen. Yes? Perhaps that's allowable too. But praising people should really be that which is in them of character, and not just what you can get from them. 19 قوله أنت منهم علم من أعلام النبوة. Prophet ﷺ saying to Ukasha, you are from them, shows a miracle from the miracles of his prophethood, that he knew who was from Jannah and who was from the Nar. Allah told him these people, like the 10 who were promised paradise. How did the Prophet ﷺ know? Allah told him these are from the people of paradise. 20 Fadilat Ukasha, the excellence of Ukasha. 21 is using words to not harm anyone. When answering questions, when answering somebody, be careful what you say and how you say it. Avoid hurting people's feelings. Something we don't do generally. We just say it how it is. Whether it hurts you, or whether it kills you, whatever it does to you, it doesn't matter. Prophet ﷺ was very, very careful in what he said to the people. Even Allah Ta'ala, how he spoke to his Prophet. Even when he was saying something, correcting the Prophet. Abasa wa tawalla. He didn't say you turned. He said he turned. Who's he? Because he didn't want to hurt the feelings of the Prophet ﷺ. So, trying not to hurt others, hurt their feelings. Sometimes words hurt more than physical words hurt worse. They have the saying, sticks and stones will... It's not actually true. Yes, it's not actually true. You can recover from sticks and stones. Sometimes you can't ever recover from words that people have said. It lasts with you until you die. So be careful how you deal with the people. 22, Husn khuluqi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the greatness of his manners sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how he dealt with the people. And with that we come to the end. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wallahu a'lam.